Idamante in this opera is an interesting one because he's the young man at the centre of it all. His father has been away at war for years. He's been hoping he will come back, and now the ship has been seen. So knowing that my father will come back makes me do all sorts of crazy things. I let go the prisoners because I'm in love with a princess from their people. And so that I want the two warring factions to come together through our marriage. But first, Ilia has to be convinced, and so it's not so simple. And we think suddenly that Idomeneo has died, which puts everything into a new perspective. It's another one of these trouser roles for women to play, although at the time it was played by castrato. This is a totally new production, so I use my experience in playing roles of this kind, but I also work closely with the director as to what kind of movements they're looking for, what kind of ideas they want to convey. Actually, it's not so tricky to play a young man. Once you have the costume on, it helps a lot. This role sits very high in the tessitura for the mezzo-soprano, so I suppose the endurance at a high tessitura is probably the hardest part of Idamante's role. I really enjoy the ensembles in this piece as well. It's a beautiful quartet, trio, duet that is quite exceptional in my view. Amazing music. Some of the best Mozart writing you'll ever hear. It's really extraordinary. If you only know Don Giovanni or Marriage of Figaro, you must hear Idomeneo and see it. It's fantastic music. That's why they should come. My first time with this opera company, I once sang for the Gulbenkian Foundation in a Bach concert. But I'm very happy to be back. It's so beautiful here and the people are very welcoming.
In the middle of a show, everything looks like a big mess, a big chaos, and then of course you find the show and you make the thing. I've worked in opera for many years, but it's not my main job. My main job is working in circus, in theatre. So for me it's something I come back to every few years to do something in opera. And I love it, and it's also very complicated. I think it's a really interesting medium, but not one that's very simple. Here in Portugal, Idomeneo is a very big musical piece with not a lot of action, and it's an opera seria, so it has a form, and you have two choices with opera seria. Either you do opera seria, or you just don't care about it and you make an excuse for a lot of Regi Teatro things happening. And we've really tried in this production to make an opera seria, to follow the music and the intent and the dramaturgy, and to find a way through to make that alive and let the music and the singing talk. Oh look, the music is incredible. I mean, it's really glorious music, and it's a pleasure to work with it. We have a great cast of singers, and my main task in this opera, I think, is to put great singers and great music into an audience's eyes and ears. And if we can do that, then I think the audience will be startled by the beauty of this work. I mean, nobody knows Idomeneo, not only really opera aficionados know Idomeneo. It's not Figaro, it's not Così, it's not Don Giovanni. So it's a piece that, to give it some life and to give it a chance to talk to an audience, is very special. Look, it's music. It's beauty. It's incredible singers. Richard Croft, Caitlin, Anna from here is just an incredible Ilia. Elettra, Sophie is a stunning singer. Christian, who's the maestro, has the band playing with no vibrato in a real sharp Mozart style. To hear this music in this venue, which is the same era as like less than 10 years later after writing the opera, this venue is built. This is incredible. Portugal is a beautiful country. I love being here. The people are delightful. There is always some beautiful energy, some food, some light. Of course, I'm in a theatre now, so all I really know is rehearsals and calls and bar numbers and lighting cues and stuff. So at the moment, there is no Portugal. There is Carlos, there is Idomeneo, there is general, pre-general. It's what happens. If you don't, you go a little crazy. You run away to an island called the theatre where you get lost for a few weeks, and then you come back to the real world.
I think Idomeneo is the last great Baroque opera. I think it exists on the path between Baroque and the classical period, I think also it's, for me, a lot of people I'm sure would argue, for me it's Mozart's greatest opera. It has an amazing story, amazing colours in the orchestra. He was writing for this very famous orchestra from Mannheim, which had just moved to Munich, and they were the best in the world. And Mozart went to town giving these incredibly difficult, it's one of the most difficult operas to perform for the orchestra. Good ideas, it's very clear, it tells the story. I think it's great. And the only other big difficulty was the orchestral writing, which is incredibly, as I said before, incredibly difficult to rehearse. The orchestra here have really come up with the goods and are playing it beautifully. Oh, just some of the most beautiful music ever written, and a great story as well. It's real opera seria in its true form. We've got monsters, and we have so many amazing things. I think it's something that really, it's a long opera, but it's one that basically goes very quickly when you're watching it. Oh, it's fantastic. I was here 15 years ago to do Platée, and I didn't get much of a chance to see Portugal then, but this time I've had a bit more time, even though I've been flying back and forward from London a lot for other concerts. And I just think it's great. I think the best thing, apart from all the beautiful houses and the beautiful views and the river, the best thing is the Portuguese way of life, which seems to be, just relaxed, calm, looking at everything with positive eyes, and enjoying life.